Good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending tonight. This is the first of two parts, two of the same kind of workshop that we're going to be having this evening for the Climate Action, Resiliency, and Sustainability Plan. And yeah, I'm glad that you're able to make it here. And we have a presentation for you, and I'll kind of run through the agenda and whatnot. And yeah.
Is your mic on? Because you do need that for the recording.
Yeah, it's for the recording. Yeah.
It didn't sound like it was on, so I was just.
Right. All right, I'll make sure I'm projecting a little more. Let's see. So, yeah, brief agenda on what we're doing tonight. Going through some introductions. We'll do an icebreaker. I'll show a clip of the public service announcement that was created. We'll go into actually what is the climate action, the CRS plan, kind of an overview of greenhouse gas emissions, timeline of the actual project, viewing guidelines and goals, and then also the task force updates. If there are anyone of the members among us that would like to share any updates, there's an opportunity for that. Then we'll have a breakout session. We'll also do an open discussion, and then we'll conclude. So, just greetings. This is sponsored by the Community and Economic Development Department. We are putting this together as the plan. Nora Lockman is our director. Myself, Elijah Romulus, the town planner. We have Amanda Wolf, our housing and land use planner, and then Tiana Malone, our administrative assistant. And basically, with my work, as the town planner, I'm executing this actual plan. And I've comprised a task force, the Climate Action Task Force, which will be an advisory committee that helps me guide this project as we go along in this planning process. As you can see here, we have a very robust crew. I had to use a planning word, robust, but yeah, we have some really good folks that have been able to, contribute already from the onset, sending different documents related to the plan, sharing some areas of expertise that has, different plans that have worked in the past, projects that are either completed or ongoing or planned. And so, yeah, we have a great team here, and they'll be helping throughout the process of this. Also like to thank Wegmans. They were able to sponsor the snacks and the food that we have here tonight. So just wanted to give a shout out. Wegmans over at the University Station. Right. And so we're going to start with a quick kind of icebreaker here. So, what comes to mind when you hear the words climate action, resiliency, and sustainability? Those are sometimes big words, but is there anything else that kind of comes to your head when you're hearing that? We have a live word cloud that if you scan the QR code or go to the website and enter the code, you can then, submit.
Also on your tables too, if you need it at the top.
Yeah, so the first one, first QR code on the table.
Can you do it sideways, Joe?
There's only quite a few words.
Yeah, but you can enter as many few words as you want.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing right now?
Oh, here it goes.
What comes to your mind when you
All right, let's see greenhouse gases, clean energy, resilience, fossil fuel-free future, circular economy, better education, save the earth, tree protection, renewables, health and equity, greenhouse gases, efficiency. Looking like a good list here.
I don't think I'm on the right.
Yeah, so I posed the same question to the task force members, you know, going into the beginning of the project, and I can share kind of a word cloud of some of the things that went through their heads, and you can see that there's some similarities here. You can see efficiency, you can see energy. You know, tree protections here, looking at, you know, resources and conservation. So clean water, you know, we all need clean water. So, you know, it's a good idea of kind of where we are going into this. And so I just wanted to share a quick video. It's just a minute. It kind of shows what we're doing here.
Westwood's Climate Action Task Force, focused on creating a plan of resiliency and sustainability, will host 2 community visioning sessions in October and November. The plan covers 5 main topics to improve Westwood in combating climate change and long-term sustainability. Key focus areas include smart zoning, economic development, and improving land use and transportation for residents and businesses. Additional focus will be given to open space and conservation of land to protect our natural resources. Sustainable buildings and clean energy use will help Westwood reduce our carbon footprint. Resiliency planning and implementation will ensure that the town prioritizes public safety, emergency services, and disaster preparedness. Water and waste management will also be an area of focus to ensure Westwood's water, sewer, and solid waste management are future-proofed. Westwood residents and interested parties are encouraged to join the conversation during the first community visioning session on October 19th at 6 p.m. at the Westwood Public Library. A second forum will be held on November 2nd. For more information, scan the QR code or visit the link shown on screen. Be a part of planning Westwood's better, brighter future.
All right, so that was a quick overview of the project. You know, so what is in the CRS plan? If you look at your tables, you'll see that there's different, you know, areas of the plan that is being brought up, you know, like the land use and transportation. This is kind of community economic development. I won't go through, you know, everything that the video said, but just recap, just showing you kind of what will be at the different stations tonight. And so just a quick kind of overview of what we've done in the past. So in 2017, MAPC worked with the town. Our energy manager, Tom Philbin, had kind of gone through some of this work, and they looked at greenhouse gas emissions for the town, and it was roughly 150,000 megatons of CO2 equivalent. Municipal facilities actually made up 3% of that, of the total emissions, but the majority of the town's emissions, over 90%, came from residential buildings, passenger vehicles, as well as the commercial and industrial industry. So, you know, as we go into this, we'll, you know, be thinking about ways to reduce that carbon footprint, especially across those sectors. And when you think about, you know, a number like 147,000, what does that actually look like? An equivalent of that would be, you know, running 32,000 cars, you know, for a year. So it's kind of an idea of the CO2 emissions. And then we'll be for the timeline here, just an idea of how long this process goes. In September, there was a kickoff of the task force meeting. Right now, you guys are here helping us as part of these visioning sessions. We'll have another one on the 2nd in case folks couldn't make it tonight. You know, it'll be the kind of same process for that session. And then pretty much from now through the spring, we also have a survey that we have. So when you go to the website, there's a full survey for like residents, community members, anyone who's active in Westwood can take that survey. And we also have a youth-specific survey for any of the grade school to college age folks that want to weigh in as well. And then from there, around between, from the spring to the summer, we'll be actually having some public meetings to view the draft, because after these sessions, I'll be taking the winter to actually draft the plan, put it together, kind of parse through all the information that I've been getting, and presenting it in the spring for a public meeting, have folks be able to comment on it from the task force, and members to be able to weigh in as well. And then finally in June, July, we'll present a final version to the planning board for endorsement. Let's see. And so I just wanted to go over these guidelines that we've proposed for the project. It's looking at promoting comprehensive climate action and resiliency planning, educate the greater community regarding the urgency around climate change action, promoting greenhouse gas emissions reduction, promoting clean energy, clean and renewable energy use, promoting an equitable, clean, and healthy community. And then some of the goals that have been proposed. I kind of get into my planning mode with some of these words like town synchronization and public education, but really big words to say that we want all town, agencies and facilities to work together, seeing what kind of plans or action steps that they're taking on their end and trying to come together for a more streamlined goal. And then also, working with public education. There's different aspects, especially in the residential side of things, even with our businesses around town, trying to educate them as well on how they can reduce their carbon footprint. Then we look at transportation improvements, looking at reducing our emissions by 2050 by 85%. Looking at a zero waste and stormwater master plan, improved resiliency. So how do we respond to natural disasters? How do we prepare for a changing climate? We see, even the last 6 months, there's just been a lot more large-scale natural disasters happening all over. Years back, there was the flood that came through Westwood and Norwood, and the hospital is still closed down. So there's definitely issues that we consider as we make this plan going forward. Then there's land preservation and rehabilitation. And then our moonshot goal is the net zero townwide emissions by 2060. So I'll open up the floor. If any of our task force members are here, have any updates, I just wanted to give an opportunity. Honestly, right now we're still working through some of the things. I've given them a little bit of a rubric to kind of follow in terms of what to have for this plan, but yeah. If not, I can move forward. And so this part of the session, we're actually going to break out into groups. So the breakout session is based on what you guys have on the table here.
So there's a different topic at every table, so if we can have some people from that corner, those two tables spread out to these two, because each of you will be covering a different topic, so we'd like to have some people at every table.
This is water, waste,
Oh, let's go, Christian.
resources. How are you?
And in the paper-clipped papers, you have 2 posters and a set of directions with guiding questions to help you. But essentially, you're sharing your hopes, so your ideas, your goals in regards to the area you were assigned, and then your concerns. So what challenges exist now, what challenges will exist in the future, and then there's some guiding questions to kind of help generate conversation, but you don't necessarily need to address all those questions. Does that make sense?
like those plane marks in the sky.
All right.
What is that? Like,
So I hope there was a good conversation.
Weather. Yeah. Intense weather.
We're gonna resume.
Yes. So we're coming back together. We're gonna kind of have a discussion of what we just kind of know your groups on a larger level. If anyone has any ideas, based on another topic that another table they weren't able to sit at, we could also go through that. But at first, I'll go around each table and we can give, let's see, we'll start off with one hope and one concern from each table. So let's start out in the front here.
And get to the concerns. There's a whole nother.
So we are the Natural and Working Lands Group, and I think our number one hope, which is, I think, becoming clear to a lot of people who have been educating themselves about the issue, is securing the conservation restriction for hail. Because it's such a big chunk of land, it has such a significant tree canopy, and is, as I was learning last night, also very important for water, what was the word, regeneration?
Recharge, yeah.
Water recharge, thank you. Water recharge. That's your area, I know, but we overlap. So that's probably our biggest hope, is that we can get hail protected forever. And one of our concerns, which one do you think, Maria? Probably the pesticides, like land treatments. I think one of our concerns is how can we make some changes and do some education both at the municipal level and the residential level around more organic gardening and land maintenance practices.
All right, all right. Good stuff, good stuff. We'll come over here to land use. One hope, one concern.
So we had some similar things as they did. We also mentioned the elimination of gas-powered leaf blowers. When you look at that pie chart, a significant portion of that is most likely from leaf blowers in the town. So our hope is that we can have a quieter, more environmentally friendly, again, care of people's lawns and yards. And then a concern, I would say two. One is flooding in particular. And then I think the other concern we have is more generally, for us to be successful in building this better, brighter future, it requires, and I think you can tell, it's not just about the town doing things differently, the municipality doing things differently. It requires all of us, every single resident, to help and make changes to reduce some of the environmental impacts that we are all responsible for today.
Definitely, I agree. Good points. Nice. So we will move to water and waste management.
So we had a hope, I think, the hot button hope is for better composting throughout the town, I think, both at school district level, residential and non-residential level. I think there are lots of advanced composting and anaerobic digestion programs, and having the availability included in taxes to cover that as a base instead of having a private sector type of contract outside of taxes. The concerns, we didn't quite get to the concerns page, but I think what we heard was, as a general theme here, was the concern that it's too easy to waste instead of reuse. For example, the bulk item pickup day versus a reuse platform that everyone could easily just log on and say, here's something that can be reused instead of putting it out for bulk waste. We don't quite understand where our waste is going. None of us knows where the solid waste is going or where the wastewater is going. So that's definitely a concern that I think, focusing more on reuse, reduction, and then advanced recycling like organics, composting with digestion would be awesome.
Great. Good points. Good points. We'll move over to the other one is I am blanking right now. Yes.
Resiliency planning and implementation.
Resiliency planning. What do you guys have?
So one of our concerns during this year was that throughout this year we've seen more recent patterns of more rainstorms and some of them getting more harsh. And so our hopes was that we're able to not only provide shelter for those who do not have electricity, but also response time so that people can get their electricity more frequently due to one of our members' experiences. And maybe something else is that we can keep like some of our catch basins clear, because we know that fall is coming through, more leaves are falling down. So as a responsibility of residents, we should keep that clear.
Great. Good, good. And last but not least, we have sustainable buildings and clean energy.
You said like we hope that like we can install more solar panels on top of buildings so we can like capture more sun energy. And then we also said like just like putting more recycle bins in buildings and encouraging people to recycle more.
And a concern that we have is like right now there's a lot of gas and oil that is used for the heating of buildings, and it's a lot of carbon emissions out of that. And if we can use solar panels by connecting that, like connecting heating to the electricity grid would help heat homes, but on a more carbon-friendly platform.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. All right. So I guess we can open this up. We have some guiding questions if we need it. But is there anything, as folks have kind of heard the conversation, anything that kind of stands out that maybe you want to voice? We also have another active poll here. So as it relates to land use, transportation, you can kind of take a look there and vote on what the most important, kind of on a sliding scale of what you think is the best action step for land use and transportation.
QR code, if you pull that up on your phone.
You can also say it too if you want.
Yeah, there's just a problem about these
So,
live surveys.
I want to go back to the gas-powered blowers and leaf blowers, because both of our groups had noted that. Because they are such, we learned, such big emitters of CO2. So I guess I would be curious to know, I don't even know at this point in time, what sort of regulation we might even be able to put in place on those sorts of things. So I would like to find out at the state level, at the municipal level, are there sort of laws you can put in place to limit the use of those or not?
Yes, that's a good question. There are definitely laws related to that. In Massachusetts, there are some of local towns that are taking on that initiative, and so yeah, as I put this plan together, that's definitely something that I'll be looking into.
I don't want to hurt small business people, obviously, so I don't know if there are ways to kind of work with landscaping companies to find a happy medium.
Exactly. Anything else that strikes a chord? Looks like for land use strategies that we want to pursue, 100% of folks said expand walking infrastructure. Looks like expanding bike infrastructure was a second, tied with complete an EV charging station inventory and infrastructure assessment, or rather investment. Then we have add climate change considerations to permitting, whether that's zoning or planning or building permits, seeing how that can be in a lens of climate change. Improving MBTA bus access was tied with the commuter rail access, and also conducting an annual review of the comprehensive plan. I believe we do that, but definitely making sure that it's on a more readily accessible way, for sure. And then build transit-oriented development. So, compact, walkable neighborhoods. A lot of times people think about the 15-minute neighborhood where you can kind of get to everything, within that 15-minute range. So it's great. So we have another set of questions. And if anyone has any ideas, definitely, shout it out.
Elijah, can we back up to another slide for a minute?
Yeah.
You talked about increased MBTA bus access.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here from the bottom. Is it possible to work with other communities in these bus service? What I mean is, there was a bus line that came down High Street. It started, I believe, in Medfield, was it, Nora?
I know it came through here, I don't know where it began.
Yeah. But, the MBTA might not be interested in it, but maybe through the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, you and others could get those wheels rolling. Judging by the traffic, people might welcome it.
Oh, I know.
I would agree, and that's definitely something that I've been thinking about. So as we work through this planning process, gaining more support for it, definitely would be putting that into a plan and hopefully into action.
Yeah, rather than just Western, about involving other communities.
Definitely.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. So we'll go to the next set of questions. So this one's related to the natural and working lands. So you think about conservation, open space and recreation, agriculture to the extent that we have that here, and then kind of gauging your priorities there. So, conducting an annual review of the conservation land management, increasing opportunities for and awareness of, and it's going. All right, there we go. So we'll let that populate for a little bit.
We already did a...
Yeah, feel free to shout out something if you guys, something comes across your mind.
I think it's still the first one.
We're still on the first one.
Yeah, I think it's still the first one.
I would do it too.
Oh, this one.
I think it's the last question on the first one. And we'll move to the second. Oh, sorry.
Oh, the gas leak. I never knew leaf blowers use gas. Wait, do you guys have like an electric lawnmower? Or do you guys use it? Same.
Yeah.
What, do I have to go to a different place?
They're electric lawnmowers.
Looks like the results are coming in. The hottest topics we have here.
Yeah, right.
So phasing out harmful fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. Increasing plantings native to Massachusetts. Developing a tree inventory, tree bank, and planting plan. So those look like the top three. Very nice. All right, we're gonna wrap up with one more question. I know trying to keep this to an hour on the dot, so. But we can.
This is the second QR code.
Yeah, so the second one on the page, scan that one, and you'll be able to answer the questions here.
Wait, how much is the number 2 in the fixed boost like worth?
It worked.
No, I'm
So what sustainable buildings and clean energy use strategies would you like Westwood to pursue?
Or like any part. Like in the FRQ. Each part was like 3 parts. What? No way.
Oh, I got it, thank you.
Solar panel plan that was supposed to be over the high school, did that go through? Is that one?
What does this mean, continue developing the Westwood Community Choice electricity aggregation? Continue developing.
I've never heard the net zero by 2060. I heard 2045 or 2050. It's interesting they chose 2060. I wonder why. Why can't they go for 2050?
Those are good, that was a high.
Not 100 like the state. I mean,
That might be an
I
idea
don't, I don't mind coming down.
they have 2045 as a net zero.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Washington State. I know that last 10% is really hard to
Yeah.
do, but
They're not, Cannon Mountain.
with the with the moonshot, I think he set that big, hairy, audacious goal a little more aggressively.
I'm interested in this build a microgrid.
Yeah,
That's
What
cool.
is that?
I'm just looking at that and trying to wrap my head around what that means.
Oh, well, we could.
I think it's like where you have like solar or other local energy sources that are connected to each other and to local buildings, so that if there's a power outage in the overall grid, then the
All right, so we'll look at, so it looks like the top three that we have here for clean energy and sustainable buildings are reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 85% by 2030, continuing to develop the Westwood Community Choice Electricity Aggregation, Westwood CEA program. That is definitely a great program that we want to keep going. And then reduce greenhouse gas emissions 100% by 2050. So,
What about the possibility of installing geothermal energy?
yeah, I mean, there's definitely talks of that. I mean, the rebuilding of the school, the elementary school right now, that's on 100% geothermal, or at least a majority of it is the geothermal. So looking at creating, potential grids from that is definitely something to include in this planning process.
It's quite expensive. Geothermal.
Yes, so.
My college committed to becoming all geothermal by 2030, and they're on their way.
Wow,
Pretty psyched about that.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely something to explore for sure. How are you guys feeling? You up for one more question?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. He says an hour, right? I'm putting two in mine.
All right, so what resiliency planning and implementation strategies would you like Westwood to pursue?
Yeah.
All right. Looks like the results are coming in, and our top three is looking like expand flood prevention measures and response protocols, develop a mutual aid network, ensuring others can access needed resources, and preserve and update emergency communication systems. All very important and necessary, for sure. Cool. Any thoughts on that as we wrap this up? Or? Oh, all right, cool. You guys are doing great. All right, so with the wastewater management strategies, looks like the top three were develop a stormwater master plan, implement curbside composting pickup, and still going. Looks like and create an. Oh, all right. Let's. hey, I mean, it's the great technology here.
What is curbside composting?
Curbside pickup.
Townwide as opposed to through the private company?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so it looks like the top three here are develop a zero waste plan, implement the curbside composting, and then develop a stormwater master plan. All right, all right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for participating in this open discussion and coming out to this meeting tonight. Definitely we can continue the conversation if you want. There's a bunch of snacks in the back. Please make sure that you take some. We're going to be taking your write-ups that you worked on and you know, holding on to that as I start drafting the plan. I'll be keeping these in consideration as I move forward.
Yeah. Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
One thing that occurs to me is that the state is offering a lot of incentives for various things, and most people don't know exactly what those are or how they can be accessed. And I think that is worth finding out about.
Yeah, for sure. And you know,
educating the public on these things.
and the public education piece is definitely important for that. And you know, looking at different innovative ways to get the word out. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Yeah.
Does this QR code lead to the survey?
The QR code on the stickers that you guys have tonight leads to the main plan page, and you know, the first, you know, at the top of the page, you scroll maybe a few scrolls down, you'll see a link to the survey for the townwide one, and then also the youth survey as well.
Thanks.
Do you want more? Recycling bin in here?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Maybe in the on the outside, but yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you guys for coming, and
Thank you.